Howl at the Moon with Pete and only Pete. And, well, not really. I'm lying. I'm here with Dallas, the cat. But, yeah, let's hit episode 49. We're going to talk about War of the Planet of the Apes. Hit that music. Back quick. Anyway, yeah, so it's July 31st. It is deep Monday morning. It's just about 4:30, and episode 49, Dream Warriors. So this is a re-recording because the initial topic or this initial episode was lost. Very weird thing happened. My software recorded everything, refused to save the recording. So what happened at that point was Thursday of last week. Brian, who I do Bad Eats with, the YouTube show, he came by to do a Dream Warriors 50 because Mark and I were not syncing up. I think he's just been super busy, and I got kind of like a insane work week also. So we kind of had that for 2 weeks back to back, and there was like a couple other things I was like prepping for the show, and I missed a recording with my sister, which kind of like broke my heart. So I kind of already had Brian scheduled. So by that point, by recording episode 50, and this right here is like there was like a lost late night recording also for Dream Warriors, and and essentially the topic was War of the Planet of the Apes. I saw Planet of the Apes last Monday, a week ago, with John, and didn't want to do a recording or anything. I just wanted to, again, just running hard, grinding. People always tell me or ask me, they ask me if I do too much. This is a question I've been getting my entire life. I'm not joking. I remember back in middle school, people asked me if I do too much because I was collecting, selling collectibles, doing artwork, writing, kind of like focus on fine art, focus on comic book illustration. I kind of like had like kind of like narrowed interests, but in my mind they were vast, which was like kind of like all things geek and what you would call pop culture like nowadays. But yeah, so do I do too much? Probably. I don't know. So yeah, I wanted Planet of the Apes, War of the Planet of the Apes to kind of sit a little bit. And I just wanted to watch a movie. I didn't want to do a recording immediately after, and I thought we had too many of those back-to-back types of like on-the-spot recordings, and I wanted a little bit of a break in the feed. But I was just kind of like just wanting to hang out with John, watch a movie, grab a couple of burgers, and so essentially, like maybe we'll jump right into it, or maybe I should tease Dream Warriors 50. I'm drinking Red Bull, by the way. Sugar-free Red Bull. So War of the Planet of the Apes. All the YouTubers, all the influencers that I love to reference, hopefully maybe one day potentially call out loved this movie, which is kind of right. That's always like a warning sign. And this was supposed to be the end all be all science fiction adventure. It's supposed to be unstoppable, like all of it. It delivered on some aspects. Was this like another Baby Driver incident? No. I just had a UFC party on Saturday, was discussing someone with Baby Driver who completely loved the movie. And it was, everything that he liked about the movie was the visceral part. And I'm like, yeah, but like so much of that story just didn't connect or resonate or make any sense. But it's tough. But then again, like it's just surprising to me because you'll get people who are into something like Baby Driver, for like the music and the visuals and the way it's shot, but then no one's into like Armageddon for those same reasons. And it's like, man, like I'd much rather be into Armageddon or like a Michael Bay movie or even a Zack Snyder movie because wow, look at that. No one says that about Sucker Punch, but like holy crap, look at Sucker Punch. The music, great music cues in Sucker Punch, great use of music in Sucker Punch. But you'll never get it, but you'll get it with these like kind of like artistic, hey, like validating, like it's okay to think you're artistic, and we'll validate you with this movie that you can love that only a few people will. Really weird. So it's not exactly Baby Driver or of the Planet of the Apes, but wow, it gets close. I mean, if Baby Driver was a triple, I would say War is a double because it's got like both movies had like a hell of a beginning. And even with War, it's like man, like if they kept this tone and this speed for 2 hours, I'm like, this movie would be the greatest science fiction movie ever. Because it wants that. Like the movie opens and wants this fight, this war, this conflict to be like opened and exposed and it's just kind of funny. But um, I literally love the soldier with the monkey killer helmet. I just thought that was fantastic. So that's kind of like where the movie opens. We see it in the trailers. It's in the attack on Caesar's camp, which is again too like the military might versus spears and smoke bombs, and potentially higher ground. But which is great. You can have higher ground in this scene with horseback and spears. Um, but it's tough because when your opposing enemy has grenade launchers, you literally don't stand a chance. So yeah, but either way, I mean they could have kept going with that, and plus they kind of destroyed the believability of the apes numbers because in that scene they take out about 32, 33 apes in like a couple seconds, and you're just like, man, okay, like that's a lot very quickly, and you kind of see that Caesar's numbers are not like huge. Which by this point in the movie, I guess I was expecting his numbers to be much larger. Um, so uh, movie opens with like a good uh couple like a paragraph. That's like a narration that uses Rise, Dawn, War, and it's like motion graphics. I completely forget Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. What I was reminded of that movie came from War. Amazon Instant had it, I think, at $5 one day, and they bumped it back up to 10. I almost bought it just to watch it, but I'm just like, I don't know. like if just no desire to watch it. So anything with Dawn, I was reminded of through War of, and yeah. So we go from this camp, and we establish that Caesar, is still leading the tribe. The tribe somewhat worships him as leader. There's gorillas now on the side of humans called donkeys, and really cool white ape called Winter. Winter turns into the one that betrays everyone. And so at this point, we go to Knight, Woody Harrelson's character, with like a black ops team, tries to assassinate Caesar, winds up killing his family, and Caesar now goes on this revenge. And that's it, man. Like that's kind of where the movie completely goes off center from there. Um, I'm not saying that this movie doesn't have consequences and things like that. It definitely does. At this point, the next best scene in the movie is Woody Harrelson's "I'm a sympathetic villain" speech, which I thought was fantastic. And this is where I started to get confused. And what confuses me with this movie is the intent, which is all right. So we have three movies made. I'll just say, just guesstimating, like 8 years production for three movies. 200 million a piece, probably, right? So $60 million, 6 hours, 6.5 hours, I'll say, 6.5 hours, and your entire intent now is to what? Um, like I drafted some notes here. Let me get to them. Um, let me go here because when the recording failed, I kind of went back and took notes so I could be a little bit accurate. Not accurate, just kind of remind myself. Um, okay, so so the fall of humanity, right? These three movies wanted to document that. They wanted to document the apes, the rise of the apes. Um, they threw in the astronauts in Rise. Um, they wanted to explain how Caesar became a myth. Also, they wanted to explain to you Nova, and also how Planet of the Apes, like kind of like environment, was a desert. How did they settle? Why would they settle in a desert? Which makes no sense in the original. Like, um, even though like it's post-apocalyptic in the original. So that's kind of like the intent of these movies. These movies is to really just explain that Caesar has become a myth, and that the humans are not self-destructive. They're not. That was the big point with Planet of the Apes. That was the point. The point that was that humanity destroyed itself, and we have like just let that sink in. If especially if you've seen this movie, we have a let's just go into the year, right? Um, the original Planet of the Apes was oh geez, here we go. 19, you know what? Oh, sorry, 1968. I think I said 69 before. Probably the previous recording, but yeah, 1968. Uh, like, okay, so 1968. This is what people feared. In 2000, we're in the 2000s now. Jeez. Um, like what did people fear in 2017? What do they fear? What would you make the point of? And I think that should have been rolled into the saga for this one to put a stamp on it. Uh, kind of odd, right? So humanity, in this movie, you kind of want the humans to win, which is kind of funny because they should be portrayed as, um, like they maybe they tried it, like they put the apes into slave labor. Woody Harrelson's whole gimmick in the movie is to build a wall because the part of the hook is that this other army that you think is coming to help Caesar, I mean, to help Woody Harrelson to hunt down Caesar, is coming to destroy Woody Harrelson because Woody Harrelson has these like extremist views on what's happening with humanity, and which is this other thing that they explain is the degradation of the human race. So humans are more monkey-like or primate-like, or in the original Planet of the Apes. Like they're running through the fields and they're being caught by the gorillas, and Charlton Heston gets netted and get your paws off me, you dirty ape, and all these things. So humans don't speak in this future, and they explain that because the simian flu that wiped out humanity at the end, actually end credits of Rise of the Planet of the Apes, has mutated, and it now affects humans, and it takes away their ability to speak, and maybe like a couple other things that we assume. So Woody Harrelson has like a no live policy. Like when this happens, he kills him. Tells a story where he has to kill his son. It's a really good scene. Um, and there's a army in the north now that doesn't want him to be doing that, so they're coming to take him out. So Woody Harrelson enslaves all the monkeys, all the chimps, all the gorillas to build this wall. Now, what we find out is at the end of the movie, when this conflict reaches a boiling point, which was you had a couple things happening. You had a Caesar conflict. You had the monkeys escaping, because we're at this point in the movie where monkeys are escaping jail, um, and we have like a full out war, and that this army of the north during winter, but it just sounds like Game of Thrones when I say it out loud like that. They bring like full on gunships. So we're talking Apache helicopters. We're talking even artillery. Huge numbers of men that completely fill up this valley, and Woody Harrelson has some like anti-aircraft missiles and guidance like systems, but like you don't stand any type of chance. You have no hope if there's Apache helicopters coming for you and you're just on a wall with a machine gun. And that is exactly like, what was that? So that just seems silly to me. The movie so kind of sets up this idea that there's like two groups of humans left: Woody's people and the people of the North. What you really don't believe, like you don't get a sense of that, and they have to do something with the humans by the end of this movie. Like you gotta do like right, the humans gotta, and this whole time I'm just thinking like the humans can't live. I'm not really thinking about like what they're going to do. I'm just saying it to myself. I'm like, the humans can't live. Like, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? And it's a convenient avalanche, just wipes them all out, and you really and Nova survives. So Nova also gets her name from Chevy Nova, because we live in an age that everything needs to get explained, and uh, the Nova thing felt really wedged into the movie. Um, really didn't add up at all. Like no payoff. Um, but like I said, like in all, this was like a good, like it was just like a good experience. It was a good story. It was fun to watch some of this stuff unfold. What just doesn't resonate with me is that, man, they spent all of this time like leading into what? Like why are you like so it's a trilogy. It's three movies now. That's like a love letter setting up the parts of Planet of the Apes that are not explained. Okay, I mean, and you know what I was waiting for? I was waiting for something with the astronauts in this movie. I thought that the timing would have been good. I thought it would have been like interesting. Like if they go that route, if you're really going to explain things, go into detail, how do you leave out the astronauts? Um, like really a hit, and even right now talking to you, this War of the Planet of the Apes kind of not too many people are on this, but this potentially is this with when you grind out the Spider-Man Homecoming numbers. This is potentially the fall of the box office this summer because we have a movie. We have two movies, and I'll get right into maybe some of the Spider-Man figures right after this. But we have it's troubling. We have a movie that got nothing but adulation. I'm sure it's a high number on Rotten Tomatoes, right? Because that's what people care about nowadays. War of the Planet of the Apes. When it comes to unadjusted price inflation, and I only kind of like to talk unadjusted anymore. Um, it's number five, people. It's the fifth highest grossing Planet of the Apes movie. Um, it's slightly, not slightly, but it's maybe about 10 million above, but beneath the Planet of the Apes from 1970. Right? Was that 1970? Hold up here. Let's make sure. Yeah, 1970, which is one of the ones people love to hate. Beneath was the sequel to the original. Came out 2 years later. Okay, so by comparison, all right, back when people actually saw movies in theaters, Planet of the Apes, 2001, the movie people love to bash Tim Burton for, which I don't know. That movie has a hook at the end, and it's fun as balls, and it has a monkey war, uh, set design, costume design, practical makeup. I don't know. Uh, it's just like a good movie. It's just like a fun, good movie. Um, like on the scale of like, hey, I'm here to have a good time. If you're a film buff, whatever, you don't like anything to begin with. So why even bother having that discussion? Yeah, so that's at 282 million. It's almost at 283. 283 million versus 117. That's where War is. Okay. War doesn't seem to be overcoming Rise with inflation. Rise is still at 197, almost 200 million. The original Planet of the Apes, 221. Dawn, 229, which actually people came out to see that movie. Dawn, 2014, 3 years later. War, yeah, it's depressing. I'm sorry. Um, and it doesn't mean it's not a good movie. I think this movie was good enough to get really high numbers. Even if it came out a few years ago, I think if this movie came out a few years ago, it would have been really significant. It would have been huge. One other thing too that bothered me while I was watching this, uh, the influencers, the YouTubers, all the people that just like to not drill into movies. When they give you the 5 minute synopsis review, which is destroying film conversation. They'll go on and on about Andy Serkis and how wonderful he is as Caesar. I don't know how you even determine that. I don't know. Explain it to me. I'm watching this movie, and the entire time I'm thinking of the glorious minds behind the special effects, and it's like, my God, these people, they're so good. They're geniuses. Um, they top themselves. No one tells them to top themselves, but they do. It's just a culture of that side of the industry. And I'm thinking of those guys. Those guys are the ones that deserve everything. Oh, excuse me. It's not Andy Serkis. I'm sorry. He's just sitting in a tight suit with like a camera in front of his face with dots on his nose to track his movements. And I'm looking at War, and I see Caesar's nose, and I'm like just staring at his nose, and I'm like, man, I was like, what does circus have to do with how cool that nose looks? Get out of here. You're stretching there, but it's a little bit of where we are. Like, just imagine, like, every time you ate something, you had to like love something about something you ate. And that's like where film is now. It's like you extremely love it or you hate it. Like it bruises you, and what you love about it is just so great. And it's like, it's like not really. It's just not the way it is. So we're at the death of the box office, and let me just go into Spider-Man real quick. So we go into. Let me just go into this series, Spider-Man movies. All right. So Homecoming adjusted price inflation. So okay. So Homecoming has made less money than the Amazing Spider-Man. And that's another one people love. People love to hate three Spider-Man movies. Three of the six Spider-Man movies since 2002 people love to hate. And that's Spider-Man 3, Amazing, and Amazing 2. So here's the funny thing. Homecoming, good number though, $276 million domestically. When you compare this to Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi, and I'm sorry, those 1 and 2 they're just amazing movies, and I'll watch those any day of the week. Because I really love Parker's, like, just Peter Parker in those movies. I don't know why. Tobey Maguire brought in $617 million. Homecoming's not even at 300. Won't hit 300. Amazing Spider-Man right at 300. Spider-Man 3, number 3, the one that, the Venom one. People just have Venom for 3. 434 million. Okay. It's not looking good, people. Like what's if you want to talk about what's contributing to this. Honestly, I really don't know. I really don't know. It's I think this is a part of streaming piracy. Mostly streaming. Um, the upgrading of the home entertainment center, like again, picture and sound, just as good. And that's what people want out of movies, and I think it's a little bit what Bret Easton Ellis has said about, like just the idea of what content is and how people respond to content, how they're absorbing it, and how that takes away from the theater going experience. I do agree with it. I do think in his latest podcast, which I forgot, I glossed over this previously and then delve into it because I'm getting better at this, and it's doing connecting those mental dots sometimes while I'm talking to you. It gets easier and easier, but there's things that pop into my head after that. I'm like, oh my God, like I didn't make that point, you idiot. So it's his contention essentially is this: people are losing their way in the method that discovering content and absorbing content, and this is hurting the overall industry. And he thinks TV culture, which is I think he's called TV today to be in like a golden age. Like the writers' room has taken everything over. And there's something to be said about that, because I really feel like that's how the Marvel movies are so strong. It's kind of like a writers' room type push. What's up, Dal? I don't know, what is he? What are you doing, buddy? What do you want? What are you looking for? But yeah, and I really like his podcast, because I think his opinions aren't just film perception and like really where things are going. Yeah, I think it's second to none. I think it's top notch. It's to be listened to, and he's doing less and less because he feels like there's less to discuss, and like that's heartbreaking. But I do disagree with him. I think when we have streaming capabilities, it's going to change the level of competition, and I'm curious on what emerges out of that. We will see a Marvel movie, like a major superhero movie, and we will see a Star Wars movie premiere streaming. We'll see this. We'll see it in the next few years, and like that's when we know where, like, maybe at that point, yeah, there'll be even less theaters, um, which again hurts. But I mean, you can't deny um, what happened with Homecoming. You can't deny the War of the Planet of the Apes. Um, it's If you just look at the numbers, we have two movies. I kind of mentioned it a little bit of a golden age run in science fiction this summer, between like Wonder Woman, Rise, Spider-Man, and geez, I'm forgetting something. What am I forgetting? Hold up here. Let's just go here. Well, we do have Dunkirk, which is still doing damage. Um, Valerian, which bombed, and even like Ghost in the Shell, Transformers. A lot of science fiction this summer. Most of them were successes, but we're in like a good month, and all these movies got hype. They got adulation. They had advertising, and nothing kaput. Um, and it's only because there's less of an emphasis on going to movies, and I was to lead into we're going to be checking out soon, because it's almost 5 o'clock in the morning and I got things to do. I sit down with Brian, who I do Bad Eats with, and I just wanted he said he could come over Thursday. I said, come over, let's go over. Oh, Alexa, stop. That's my Alexa alarm that I was. um, yes, and he, just wanted to come over, and I said, sure. Like, we'll discuss Bad Eats, and we'll do, like, let's just do a podcast. I think it'll be great if you were 50. I couldn't organize some of the other stuff I wanted around 50, especially with Norm kind of falling off as deeply as he has. And honestly, it's for like where the show's going. I don't think he is just doing his due diligence on tracking like where the show is, and what level of conversation the show's evolved into. Um, and it just sucks, because my original idea for 50 was to do like a jamboree and have everyone here, get one or two extra mics, and kind of rock and roll. But that didn't happen, and I was fine with that, because the idea of doing a show with Brian for 50, and knowing that we were not going to get into like movies, this was going to be a personal like episode. And him and I have a very interesting history, and I kind of wanted us to explore that and just document it. And I don't know if this is more of the future with Dream Warriors, but from my perspective, there is something satisfying about that. And I don't know, like I might have more and more people on here to do something like that. That you'll get in 50, and I thought 50 was like a good time. The timing was good to jump into that type of show and see like what happens with it. So post 50, this week, this will be released later on Monday. Dream Warriors 50 will be released on Tuesday. Like there's gonna be a little bit of a break, because I'm going to fully think and just like analyze the entire show, like top to bottom. Might get new theme music, might get even a new show title. It might, like I said, it might evolve into something else. This is mostly going to come from me combing through episodes, trying to identify what's good, what's bad. There's YouTube efforts that are slow, but they're coming with Dream Warriors, and I kind of the episode 50 is already done. It's already rendered. It just needs to be published. And even between now and tomorrow, I'm going to re-listen to that episode, because I think it's very interesting. That him and I kind of went through our history and how kind of like weird it is a weird, complicated history. I'm not joking. We were even talking about it on this past Saturday. He was over for the UFC party, and while all of last week too, battling a cold, like a real bad cold. Like first time I've been sick in about 3 years, like this. I still have it. I'm still congested. That was like another good slowdown, like good reason for a slowdown. It's hard to do anything when you're that foggy and congested. It really is. But I just kind of quarantined myself. But so when we did our episode on Thursday too, I was just mentally not 100%. But I think we did something good. I want to listen to it one more time before it gets released. And I kind of want to compare that to some of the other Dream Warrior episodes I think are the highlights, and see what I can do with the show. But there's a side of me that that wants to say Dream Warriors will always be comics, movies, television, pop culture. With our level of insight. That even I think right now, these points brought up at War of the Planet of the Apes. Just even going into the box office and just seeing it's dead, and you should run for the hills. No one wants to discuss that. So anyway, So this is Pete. Just two reminders: Dream Warriors 50 coming up with Brian. Bad Eats, subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe to this also and comment. Help us improve the show. And yes, there is a Get Out episode. I watched Get Out. I flipped out. I was very sick when I saw that, but I still did the recording. I've been doing conversational research with with Get Out, talking to friends about it, just to see how crazy I was with my contention of that movie, and I kind of might want to do something with that with with Mark. So, because Mark likes the movie, and as you can tell, I got issues with it. So, Dream Warriors 49, War of the Planet of the Apes, Howling at the Moon. Right now, too, I wish you guys could see this sunrise right now, because as I was talking to you, the sky went from pitch black into like this shade of blue that is and there's like a little bit of orange popping up now, and I don't know, it's beautiful. Signing off now though. Okay, talk to you guys later.